When you're starting out vaping, picking the right nicotine strengths is very important, as this is what will satisfy your cravings and help you remain smoke-free. However, it's not as straightforward as it may seem. There are a number of different factors, so we'll explain all you need to know about choosing the right nicotine strength. Now first of all, we need to know what nicotine strength actually means. So you may see nicotine strength displayed in different ways, either as a percentage or in milligrams. They both display the same thing, the amount of nicotine within each milliliter of e-liquid. So a 10ml bottle of liquid that has 10 milligrams per milliliter, or 1%, has 100 milligrams of nicotine in total, or 1% of the entire contents of the 10ml bottle. So the lower the milligram per milliliter or the percentage, then the less nicotine is contained in the e-liquid. So an 18mg or 1% e-liquid is much stronger than a 3mg or 0.3% e-liquid. As a general rule, the stronger the e-liquid, the more nicotine is delivered and the more pronounced the throat hit is. So someone who is a heavier smoker would choose a higher nicotine strength than someone who only smokes 2 a day, for example. But there are other factors that can affect this choice, such as the e-cig you're using or the way that you vape. So let's take a look at these. When e-cigs were first released, e-liquid strength was extremely important because the choice was extremely limited. In the infancy, electronic cigarettes had no mechanism to allow vapors to control the amount of vapour or the throat hit produced. This has now changed, with the vast majority of e-cigs being variable output or having different output modes. This means that you can control your throat hit and nicotine delivery simply by turning up your output wattage or voltage or changing your atomizer head resistance. So the higher the resistance, the longer the atomizer takes to heat up. This means less vapour and throat hit from your e-cig. The lower the resistance, the quicker your atomizer will heat up. This means more vapour and a bigger throat hit. So if you choose a sub-ohm atomizer for your 1.8% nicotine strength, that'll probably be far too strong for you. On the flip side, if you choose a higher resistance atomizer head, you might not get the nicotine delivery or the throat hit you need from your 0.3% e-liquid. It's all about finding the right balance of vape mod, e-cig tank and atomizer head. Now the right combination will complement your e-liquid strength and allow you to vape all day without even craving a cigarette. Now your vaping technique is also very important when determining your nicotine strength. Now you might see some vape lingo bandied about that includes MTL and DL. So let's have a look at what that means. Now MTL means mouth to lung. This is a traditional inhale that most people use. You draw the vapour from your e-cig into your mouth and then inhale it back. DL on the other hand means direct lung. The mouth part from MTL is bypassed here. You take one long draw from the e-cig, inhaling it straight in. So why would this affect your required nicotine strength? Well, an MTL draw is forgiving when it comes to nicotine strength. It's a technique most vapors use and means you can use strengths from a 0% all the way up to a 1.8% quite comfortably. However, you wouldn't usually DL vape on a high nicotine strength, because using this technique means you get a much greater throat hit and produce more vapour. A 1.8% e-liquid would therefore be uncomfortable to vape by directly inhaling. Most people who DL vape use an extremely low nicotine strength, usually between a 0 and a 0.3%. With all this in mind, the most important aspect is to choose a strength which helps you to remain smoke-free. If you still feel like you need to smoke, you may need a higher nicotine strength. Or if you ever feel like your nicotine strength is too high, vape less throughout the day, or choose a lower nicotine strength. Now you'll know if you've chosen a nicotine strength that's too high quite quickly, as you may experience a headache, dizziness, mild nausea, or coughing. Now if you do, don't panic, just stop vaping for a little while and these symptoms will pass quickly. Then reduce your nicotine strength to a lower level before you go back to vaping. Now, adversely, you'll also know if you've chosen a nicotine strength that's too low. You may find yourself having to vape much more than usual, or you may still crave cigarettes. Now if this is the case, simply pick up an e-liquid that has a slightly higher nicotine strength. So if you follow the above advice, you cannot go far wrong when it comes to choosing your ideal nicotine strength. And the following guide should help to give you a strong starting point. If you smoke between 1 and 5 cigarettes a day, go for 0.6% liquid. 5 to 10 a day, then go for 1%. 10 to 15, then go to 1.4%. And if you smoke 20 or more a day, then start at 1.8%. It's important to note that none of these are set in stone, and each vapor is different. Always remember that your e-cig has a direct bearing on what strength e-liquid you should choose, and if you have a sub-ohm atomizer and vape at high powers, you'll probably need a lower nicotine strength. Now low resistance atomizer heads and high powered e-cigs provide a more pronounced throat hit and nicotine delivery. If you're using an e-cig starter kit or a lower powered device, you may need a higher nicotine strength. The throat hit and nicotine delivery are less pronounced with higher resistance atomizer heads and lower powers. Now, the same can be said for your vaping technique. If you inhale directly, opt for a lower nicotine strength. You prefer a more restricted draw, then you may need a higher strength e-liquid. So that's everything about choosing the right nicotine strength. If you have any tips or questions, let us know in the comments below.